Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be talking mainly about what documents you would need to prepare ahead of flying into Hong Kong. For a bit of background, I flew from Malaysia to Hong Kong on the 11th of July 2021. So most of the information that you would be hearing from now on would be based around that time frame. But because things are changing so frequently, it would probably be a better idea for you to take a look at the government website if there's anything that you're unsure of. Without further ado, let's go! First and foremost, you're gonna need a valid visa or a permanent resident card to get into Hong Kong now. I'm traveling on a newly issued dependent visa, and because it's newly issued, it's in a design that they haven't seen before. So there was a lot of back and forth between the ground staff at KL International Airport as well as Hong Kong to verify and validate my documentation before they could allow me to check into my flight. Whether it's a newly issued visa or a pre-existing visa is an important discernment for Malaysian travelers because it would concern you applying for your travel pass later on in the video. Even though on the infographic here, it doesn't say that if you have a newly issued dependent visa that you would need to apply for the travel pass. But to be safe, I applied anyways. With the travel pass, the waiting time after you apply varies from person to person. For my case, I applied on the 25th of June and I actually got it approved by the 1st of July. So I was lucky in that sense where I only had to wait for about 5 to 6 days over the weekend. But I know a lot of people that have waited for many weeks that have not gotten theirs approved. So if you happen to be one of them, there is actually an online inquiry system with the link here that you can actually log in and send in an inquiry, and they would actually get back to you within 3 to 5 business days to follow up on the process of your application. When applying for the travel pass, you're gonna have to attach at least 3 documents, one of it being your passport already. So for me, I attached my passport, my visa label that is attached in my passport. I took a photo of that and put it in as well. And for the last one, I actually put in my accommodation agreement. It varies from person to person, but if you have, for example, a job offer or your leasing agreement or things like that, that would actually be something that you can attach as a supporting document as well. The next most important thing is of course to purchase your flight tickets. I've personally purchased my flight tickets from both Malaysia Airlines as well as Cathay Pacific, and my experience from both is that Malaysia Airlines is a bit less consistent with their flight times and dates, in the sense where they have more instances of cancellations of flights or rerouting of flights and changing your date. Because that happened to me on Malaysia Airlines, I decided to switch over to Cathay Pacific instead. Personally for me, I actually booked my flight 1 month in advance of my travel date, and this is just because I would like to have my flights secure before I proceeded with everything else. One thing to note is that you would want to find a good balance between being flexible for changes as well as booking things in advance. So for me personally, I feel like 1 month was a pretty good time to start booking my tickets. This ties into the next point, which is hotel bookings. In terms of hotel bookings, you can actually check in advance what hotels are actually on the Hong Kong government quarantine list. Good hotels are of course high in demand and therefore they sell out very fast, and it's actually very difficult to get rooms at some of the more popular hotels. I happen to have found the flight schedules of Cathay's upcoming months on Facebook, and therefore based on that schedule, I knew that for the month of July, Cathay Pacific was actually flying KL Hong Kong routes on Sundays as well as Tuesdays. What I did then was to call ahead to the hotel that I was looking at to book and ask if they had any availability starting on any Sundays or Tuesdays of the month that I was intending to fly. So in that way, it is actually a lot more convenient because I don't end up booking my flight ticket and not having a hotel or vice versa. I would definitely suggest having a few options just in case your top preferences aren't available for your travel dates. Another point to note is that your hotel booking is actually for 21 nights, not 21 days. Most of the hotels will actually reflect this in your booking confirmation already. But what this means is no matter what time you reach the hotel, your day 1 actually starts on the day that you land in Hong Kong. So for example, in my case, I actually landed at 10 p.m. on 11th of July. but I actually only reached my hotel 3 a.m. on the 12th of July. But that doesn't change or affect anything in my booking because my day 1 is counted as 11th of July. Now, the Hong Kong government mandates that it must be a PCR-based nucleic acid test done within 72 hours of your flight departure time. I did my COVID test at Sunway Medical Center near Sunway City, and on the actual report itself, it is printed that it is an RT-PCR test. One thing to note is that your name printed on your test report has to exactly match your name in the passport as well. If you choose to walk in and present your Cathay Pacific flight booking, you actually get a 10 ringgit discount, bringing it to 260 ringgit. I sent in my sample on 8:30 a.m. in the morning, and I got back my results actually at about 9:15 at night. So it was about 12 to 13 hours and they gave me my results already. After receiving your COVID test results, you would then need to print it out. Keep a copy with you handy when you arrive at the airport, because the first thing that you need to do before you even step into the airport is to actually show them your negative COVID test results. Some police stations might also require you to show your negative test results before issuing you the letter to travel from your home to the airport. In relation to your COVID test, the Hong Kong government actually requires that the lab that you do your test at be accredited with an ISO 15189 accreditation. You can actually find the accreditation document on this website here, and you would then need to print it out as well. There's actually a lot of uncertainty about whether you actually need a police letter to travel to the airport or whether having your flight ticket is enough. But I would say, just to be on the safe side, if possible, get the police letter done. First of all, you download the application letter and you fill it in before you actually go to the police station to apply. You then head to the police station the day before your intended travel date to get your letter. Don't go any further in advance because they will not be able to give you your letter unless you're traveling the next day. Together with your application letter, you're gonna have to bring a copy of your IC, your flight ticket or booking confirmation, a copy of your MyTravelPass if you have it, as well as, if released, your COVID test results. There were a lot of information on Facebook that said that certain police stations require you to have 2 copies of each, one for yourself and one for them to keep as record keeping. But for my police station in KL, they didn't require me to have 2 copies. Now that you have all your documents ready, the last thing that you actually have to do is to fill up an online health declaration form to get into Hong Kong. Once you're done with it, it actually generates a QR code for you. This QR code you would then need to screenshot or save, because you would need to present it at various points after landing in Hong Kong. And you're done. That's all the documents that you would need traveling from Malaysia into Hong Kong. I put them all into a file for easy access while traveling. Hope this video is helpful for at least some of you, and good luck! Bye!